What is a judge supposed to do? Hello, I am Sara, Kenley's mom. Many of you know me as Mama Bear. I'm not an attorney, I'm a victim and a mother. Laws and court procedures may vary by state. When most people picture a judge, they think of a person sitting above everyone else in the courtroom. But what is a judge actually supposed to do? A judge is supposed to be fair, neutral, and guided by the law. The judge does not represent the prosecution. The judge does not represent the victim. The judge is supposed to protect the fairness of the court process. What does the judge control? Well, the judge controls what happens inside the courtroom. Depending on the type of hearing and the laws of that state, the judge may rule on motions filed by the prosecution or defense, decide on what evidence may be presented, make sure courtroom procedures are followed, maintain order, respectful conduct, make decisions about bond and conditions of release, accept or reject a plea agreement or deal, explain the law to the jury, decide the sentence when the law gives the judge that authority. Make sure the defendant's constitutional rights are protected. Make sure legally recognized victims' rights are not ignored. A judge is not supposed to decide a case based on personal feelings, anger, pressure, favoritism, or convenience. A judge is supposed to listen, to review the facts, apply the law, and make decisions on official record. Does the judge protect the victim? The judge is not the victim's personal attorney or advocate, but that does not mean the victim should be ignored, silenced, humiliated, or placed in an unsafe situation. Victims should be treated with dignity, fairness, and respect. When the law gives a victim the right to attend a hearing, receive notice, speak, or submit a victim impact statement, the court should have a process for honoring that right. Victims should not have to guess, where am I supposed to wait? Will I be kept away from the defendant and the defendant's family? Is there a separate waiting area or a safe room available? Who will escort me to the courtroom? Where do I sit? When will I be allowed to speak, if I'm allowed to speak? Will I be able to hear what is happening in the case? Ask these questions before the hearing whenever possible. Do not assume that someone has made arrangements simply because the court knows you are coming. Ask, what arrangements have been made for my safety? Ask for an answer in writing when possible. What if there is a plea deal or an agreement? A plea agreement is usually negotiated between the prosecutor and defense, not the victim. The victim has no control on that agreement, but the judge may have the authority to accept it or reject it or ask questions before making a decision. The judge should understand what charges are being resolved, what charges or allegations are being dismissed, and what sentence is being proposed. When the law gives the victim the right to be informed, consulted, present, or heard, the process should not be arranged in a way that prevents the victim from understanding what is happening. A courtroom should not become a place where important decisions are hidden from the person whose life was forever changed by the crime. What a judge is not supposed to do. A judge is not supposed to treat a grieving victim like a disruption simply because the victim asks questions. A judge is not supposed to punish a victim for learning the law or trying to exercise legally recognized rights. A judge is not supposed to allow intimidation, disrespect, or courtroom power to replace fairness. And the victim should never be made to feel like the criminal for asking to be protected, informed, present, or heard. What the victims need to know, the words fairness, dignity, respect, and protection may appear in victims' rights laws. But words on paper do not automatically enforce themselves. Victims must learn what rights apply in their state, what rights apply at the stage of the case, and what they must do to use them. Ask questions. Keep records, save emails, write down names, dates, times, and exactly what happened. Request important information in writing, because when something goes wrong, your records may become your voice. What I have explained in this lesson is what the judge and the court process are supposed to provide. But my personal experience was very different. I learned my rights. I asked questions. I asked to be protected. I asked to be informed. I asked to be heard. And instead of being treated like a grieving mother trying to understand a case involving her only child, I believe I became a target. That part of my story belongs in a separate video. When knowing my victim's rights made me a target, I will explain what happened by date, what I personally saw and heard, and what witnesses observed, and what the official records show. Because learning your rights should never make you a target, and exercising those rights should never cause the justice system to treat you like a criminal. And this is why I tell every victim, know your rights before you ever need them, because the system will continue moving with or without you. Thank you.